Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, worlds, characters, ships, weapons, and stuff were created 45 years on, and we still love and celebrate everything Star Wars. This episode is all Star Wars, as we completely geek out to find our top 10 Star Wars things. And here is Fact Hunter Neil with 10 Star Wars facts.
Thank you very
Star
much.
Wars.
Thank you very much, Pav. So, the original Return of the Jedi script had Luke Skywalker turning evil. In the first draft, the very first thing Luke takes off the Vader's mask, puts it on, and says, "Now I am Vader. Now I will go kill the Rebel fleet and I will rule the universe."
You're my only hope.
Yoda was nearly played by a monkey. Before Frank Oz was involved, the original idea was to have a simian actor play him. Samuel L. Jackson had the same quote from his wallet in Pulp Fiction engraved on his Mace Windu lightsaber. It said, Pav?
Bad motherfucker.
That's it.
Did it?
Yeah. Nobody utters the word Ewok in The Return of the Jedi. It's used in the script as stage direction. Don't believe me? Watch it again. Chewie's roar and voice is a combination of a badger, a lion, a seal, and a walrus. Lucas pondered using an actor like Olivier or Gielgud for the reveal of Vader, according to interviews, but knocked the idea on the head very quickly. We all know Yoda's name was originally Minch Yoda, then shortened to just Yoda, but did you know originally he was going to be called Buffy?
Hello there.
A small island 1,500 miles away from New Zealand called Niue is the only place on the planet you can play for things with Star Wars coins.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
And the line, "I have a bad feeling about this," is spoken in every Star Wars movie. Even in The Last Jedi, it's squeaked by BB-8. This has been confirmed by director Rian Johnson. And Benicio del Toro was going to play Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace, but left after more and more of his dialogue was cut.
McClunky.
Thank you very much, Neil. That's
so slick.
Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. We are joined, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode. We thought, considering it's Star Wars, it has to be someone that knows a lot about Star Wars, someone that is a massive Star Wars fan, and also someone that we have a lot of love for and someone we have a lot of respect for. Unfortunately, he wasn't available, so we managed to get Steve Knibbs instead.
The old ones are the best. The good thing is, as you know, guys, the feeling is so mutual.
I know.
Oh, bless. Always good to see you, though, Steve. Always good to see you.
Always good.
You
Now
too.
you've loved Star Wars from the moment that it came out. I'm assuming.
Absolutely. I know we've talked about this before. I was born in 1971. I know I don't look it, but yeah, I saw it in Gloucester at the ABC cinema, and it blew my mind. I remember just being completely obsessed with C-3PO and R2-D2. I think I was 7 by the time it came out. Well, it would have been 6, 78, wasn't it? So maybe I was just 7. So yeah, I was completely blown away by it, and yeah, absolutely was right in the thick of the Star Wars generation. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think, Neil, you're the youngest pup here, then, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 72, and yeah, it was
you look good for 72, mate.
Yeah, not bad, am I? No, I was born in 72, so yeah. Again, I saw it in Swindon, not in the Gloucester way. I saw it over in Swindon. I just remember falling in love with it. I'd never seen anything like it before, had we? I mean, it was just, as a child, a 5-year-old, I was just mesmerized. I remember it so well.
I think that was it. I think, and then for me, it was then playing like as X-Wing fighters in the school playground with my mates and doing all that stuff. And it was that. I mean, nobody'd seen anything like it. That was the point. I think it first science fiction space film where everything looked grubby and dirty, and that sort of used universe, as George Lucas called it.
Yeah.
And so, before that, you had 2001: A Space Odyssey that was all clean and bright, and yet this was dirty and grubby and thousands of years old, and also a long time ago. So it was brilliant. I mean, when people say, what is it about Star Wars that you really like, and I can never really put my finger on it. It was just part of me, really, part of my generation.
Yeah, I saw it at a flea pit cinema in Burnham-on-Sea when we were on holiday, and my dad took me, and I can remember there being a Morecambe and Wise advert for like chalk ices. Get your chalk ices from the glamorous lady, and then this old lady with a little tray that she was carrying came out, and it said that Star Wars was in stereo. But it was just like two crappy speakers on the back of the cinema. That's what their stereo was. But I can remember, I think like loads of people, that scene where the ship like is coming over your head and it just keeps coming and coming. And I thought, oh my, what is this? And I remember driving back to, I think it was Unity Farm in Breen, thinking that the car that I was in was an X-Wing. And because it was nighttime when we were driving, and it was just amazing. And it's been like that ever since. I mean, Star Wars is a massive part of my life, and I love the fact that whenever anything Star Wars happens, someone will tag me on Facebook, because they'll think it's Star Wars. Pav loves Star Wars. I'm going to let him know about it. If it's a fire pit in the shape of Darth Vader's helmet or something like that, I'll get tagged in that straight away. But it's an amazing that something like that, which is 45 odd years old now.
I know, isn't it? I've got a quick question for you both then. With your mass collections of Star Wars memorabilia, etc., that you've got, what is it that you both would still want? What is it, your holy grail that you would like?
I mean, for me, I collect prop replicas of lightsabers, which you might be able to see some behind here.
Oh, yes.
I always wanted Luke's lightsaber, and I've got that one. So, I mean, I think I've got to. I'm building I have been for about 5 or 6 years, building a studio scale replica of the Millennium Falcon, not the full size one, obviously, but the one that's about this big. And I collected all the magazines over a couple of years. That's still 3/4 finished. I think I'd like that to be finished. I just haven't got the space to finish it off because it needs all painting. So whether I'd want anything extra, I don't know. I'm a sucker for buying the expensive books, the sort of detailed books. But I think I've got all the lightsabers I need now.
I think for me it would be a full-size Han Solo in carbonite.
Would it?
I would love one of those.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Because I don't know, but they make them into desks, don't they? I would love something like that. I think that would be amazing. I'd find somewhere for it, Neil. I mean, I've got so much crap everywhere. I'd still find somewhere for it. It'd be the door to the shed. That's what it would be.
The ceiling above your bed, so you get
wouldn't that be
looking down on you?
Yes. I'm sure my wife would prefer that than me. She won't watch this, will she? No, I'm sure she won't. Right, so what we're going to do, we've got our top 10 of Star Wars things to go through. But first of all, we were originally, I think, going to do Star Wars films, but I think with it, obviously there would be loads of duplicates in that. So what we're going to do, we are going to run through what we think our top 10 Star Wars films are. So we'll all say our number 10s. We'll do the same format, but we'll just run through them, maybe chat a little bit about it at the end. So let's have your number 10 first, Steve. What's your number 10 Star Wars film?
Which one of the sequels shall I choose? Phantom Menace.
Okay, all right. Neil, what's your number 10?
Last Jedi.
Ooh, okay. My number 10 is Attack of the Clones. So, Steve, your number 9?
Attack of the Clones.
Okay. Neil?
Solo.
Okay. Mine is Rise of Skywalker. I knew that you'd say that, Steve. Go on, Steve. Okay. Your number 8.
Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. Neil?
Attack of the Clones.
Okay. My number 8 is Phantom Menace. Your number 7, Steve?
The Last Jedi.
Neil?
Phantom Menace.
Okay. My number 7 is The Last Jedi as well. Your number 6, Steve?
Rogue One.
Neil?
Revenge of the Sith.
And that is my number 6, Revenge of the Sith. Right, we're getting a squeaky bum time now. So, Steve, your number 5?
Rise of Skywalker.
We will talk about that in a minute then. Okay, Neil, number 5.
Rogue One.
That's my number 5. Rogue One. Go on then, Steve. Your number 4.
Force Awakens.
Okay, Neil.
Return of the Jedi.
That's my number 4. I reckon, or maybe not. No.
Well, maybe. We'll
Your
see.
number 4 then, Steve.
We're not on number 3.
Number 3. Yeah.
Sorry, number 3.
Number 3, yeah, few because I was running out of films. My number 3 is Return of the Jedi.
Okay, Neil.
Force Awakens.
And Force Awakens is my number 3. Your number 2, Steve.
Empire Strikes Back.
Neil.
New Hope. Star Wars.
Mine is Empire Strikes Back. And Steve, your number 1 Star Wars film
New
is
Hope.
yours, obviously Empire.
Rise of Sky. No. Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, and mine is A New Hope, and I think it always will be. The other ones for me always will change slightly.
Yeah.
But my number 1 will always be that. So, right, I think the biggest thing we can talk about over there, Steve, is your number 5, Rise of Skywalker. Now, I remember when you came in and did the Explore Some Spoilers podcast that we did, you said that you loved the film, and I was a little bit indifferent to it. As time has gone on, you still obviously really like that film.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for nostalgia kicks. I mean, it is full of plot holes. And when you look at what these things like The Mandalorian, what Jon Favreau has done and Dave Filoni, it's maybe they should have made the sequels in hindsight, but they didn't. J.J. Abrams made them and Rian Johnson. So I did like it. I thought the ending was fantastic. I watched it again only a few weeks ago, actually. I mean, in hindsight, I think I'd sort of misremembered the plot holes because I was just fanboying all the way through watching the film. But I still think it's a really great film. I still really, really like it. And the ending for me is absolutely fine. It's cheesy. It's what you'd sort of expect if you were going to do a wrap up to a long running series and make it a bit cheesy and a bit squirmy. But actually, I'm quite happy with that. It doesn't bother me.
Right. Neil?
I mean, it's not in my list at all. The more I've watched it, the least I've liked it, if that makes sense. I've got a huge problem with the lack of Finn and people like that in it. It's so glaringly obvious that they're just sort of bit parts. And yeah, as Steve pointed out, the plot holes, and visually it's stunning. It really is. It's a great looking film, but alas, the storytelling in it is woeful.
I mean, interesting. I don't know if you saw it. There's a script going around on the internet, which apparently is supposed to be the one that Colin Trevorrow wrote.
Yes,
and submitted originally. And if you've read it, and that is an incredible script. I mean, you
Absolutely.
sort of wish they'd made that. But I mean, I think it's great. I love the bit with the Emperor coming back in it. I just think it's really well done. And I agree with Neil over the Rose and Finn stuff. I mean, there should have been more of that. And again, the plot holes are the bit that sort of knocks it down the list for me. Maybe I was being overly generous in hindsight, bearing what you two said. But it is what it is. I'm sticking with it.
Well,
The thing I got, and the thing that shook me to the core when the film came out, I went and saw it. They did the trilogy showing in Swindon, so I was there for however long it was to watch all 3 films, and it was great to watch Force Awakens again. I love Force Awakens. Last Jedi, I can take or leave it. And then watching, it's like with any Star Wars film, when you watch it the first time, like you say, Steve, you get carried away. There's a lot of fan service in The Rise of Skywalker. But I came out of the movie thinking to myself, oh my God, maybe Star Wars is just a movie. For me, it's been a religion. For me, it's always been like I cried at The Force Awakens. Every time I watched it with Luke at the end, I cried. And it got to me that like Star Wars for me is embedded in my DNA. It's part of me. And for a Star Wars film to make me feel like Star Wars is just a movie, when after I watched it, it really shocked me. I had a few things going on in my life at the time, and I don't know whether or not that had something to do with it. The fact that I had no emotion left inside me, that might have been one of the reasons. So maybe the fact that, but even watching it now, with everything that's gone on, it's a little bit like the prequel trilogy for me. The prequel trilogy was a fantastic opportunity, but for some reason they didn't go the story route that I thought would have been the great way of doing Anakin's rise and fall. And it was almost the same with that. It started off so well with The Force Awakens, and they did such brave things like killing off Han. Spoilers, if anybody isn't. If anyone is watching this, I'm sure they've seen it. that then they sort of seem to just steer away in weird, to let Rian Johnson then just do what he wanted to do, and then have to try and rein it back in when Colin Trevorrow got fired and they brought JJ back. It just felt like it was such a wasted opportunity, and I was so disappointed. But like Neil said, the movie is beautiful to look at, and there are times when I think to myself, like my counselor has said, just deal with the things that you have power over. Don't worry about the things you don't. So I try and go, no, as films, they're fine. But these are more than films. These are Star Wars films, and there was a chance for it to have been absolutely epic. And the fact that a lot of the stuff in Rise of Skywalker makes no sense whatsoever. These ships that have been underground for hundreds of thousands of years, who's been working on them? Where have these people that are working on them now? Have they lived there for these thousands of years? Where have they come from? I don't. That'd be 2 hours of the podcast gone.
But it looked great, though, didn't it?
Oh, it looked amazing. That's what I'm saying. It looked amazing. It really did. But there were like little bits when the rest of the rebels or whatever you want to call them turn up. You felt that they were going for the on your left bit from Avengers Endgame, that you thought, right, this is the bit when all the crowd are going to cheer, and I thought it wasn't earned as much. No. But that's the thing, I hate slagging Star Wars off because too many people do it these days. It seems to be so popular to be a toxic Star Wars fan now, and I know that it gets clicks for YouTube channels and stuff. It's fine. I love Star Wars. And
do you feel better now, Pav?
I feel better now. I've got that out of my way. But now we can celebrate the things that we love about Star Wars. Yes. See, look, number 5. I honestly don't know.
Hey, don't judge anyone.
I was going to say, this is the thing. Everybody's top 10s are absolutely right, but they're absolutely right because that's how you feel about it, and that is the beauty of film and of Star Wars, that you can like what you like.
Unless if you don't put Ghostbusters car into the top movie vehicle.
Well, that's just fucking ridiculous, Neil. I mean, you wouldn't put Ecto 1 in the top 10 movie vehicles.
So much.
No, who did that?
Me, I did. Neil, I didn't put it in because...
How can you not put Ecto 1 in the top 10 movie vehicles?
It's too obvious, and it's not a vehicle that I wanted.
Oh, man.
You did have the Back to the Future DeLorean in there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Right then, top 10 Star Wars things. So this could be anything Star Wars related. So, Steve, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is a Star Wars moment in Rogue One, the moment when Darth Vader tries to get on board Tantive 4, which is just that bit where the red lightsaber comes out. It is just spine-tinglingly good. And again, it was... one of those moments that you thought you'd never see. So that whole crossover, I mean, forget the sort of deep fake, not Princess Leia, but the moment that he comes out there, that's one of my top 10 Star Wars moments.
Yeah, it's a
so
phenomenal
good.
moment, isn't it? It really is. That's every fanboy's wet dream, really, wasn't it?
Well, speak for yourself, but you know.
Yeah, I would have seen Leia in a slave costume, but I mean, if that floats your boat, Neil.
It was.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was. And just the force that he uses, and with the rebels flying around, and it's just brilliant. And it's just that lovely moment with the beautifully framed shot, cinematically fantastic. The lightsaber fires up through the smoke, and you instantly know who it is, and there's that great moment. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and there's no compromise from him, is there? He's not going to take prisoners. He's just going to kill them all. Yeah, he needs to get that tape. Yeah, fantastic one.
Although he obviously hurt himself in that bit, because when he fought Obi-Wan, he was a bit croaky, wasn't he?
That's right. That's right.
Only a matter of days later.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that this Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series is going to attempt to answer that a little bit.
Yeah, it's got to, hasn't it?
It's got to do, because apparently, Hayden Christensen is in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and apparently they will meet up again. So there's got to be something in there, because they were both at the top of their game in Revenge of the Sith, and Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't look particularly older in this TV series. He's not all grey, so it's good. Yeah, they've got to do something, because they've got to disable him a little bit, I think, because even, like you say, even in the Rogue One, he's he's got half a dozen people firing guns at him, and he's still managing to like block it all.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's just something obviously happened between there. He obviously caught his finger in the door or something, because he's a bit
put the wrong ventilator in.
Yeah. Maybe his battery was running out.
Yeah, problems breathing, so he couldn't run around too much.
Yeah. Go on then, Neil. You're number 10.
So it is the Force. Just I like the ideology of it. It's a wonderful theory and thought. Obviously, a great thing for the movies as well, which is what all the movies are about. I don't know what else really to say about it, but it's the ideology of the Force really appeals to me. If it was it's like a meditation, isn't it? So you can use it in real life.
What about during the prequel trilogy when Lucas decides to make it more scientific than mystic with the midichlorians?
Yeah. Well, you can just forget about that and use
I'll just forget about that.
Because for God's sake, in that movie, Qui-Gon Jinn's talking into a bloody razor, isn't he? So
he is.
Let's just Lucas doesn't always have the right answers, did he? Let's be honest. But no, I like the mystic side of it and keep it like that. So it's just the ideology of it I think is wonderful. It'd be great if it was real.
And I'll ask both of you this. If you're going into a department store that has automatic sliding doors, do you pretend that you've got the Force?
No, but I will do now. That's great.
Yeah, I've always done it. I've even done the noise.
Yeah, I find it funny because apparently there was footage of Ewan McGregor that he didn't realize he was being filmed, and he was doing it to a door in a shop or something. Yeah, and I thought, oh my God, I do that. I do that sometimes. Yeah, I think it's got to be done. I got to see you on film now, Steve, doing that. You've got to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my next TV report. If there's a door, I'll do it.
That'll be excellent. Okay, my number 10, which might surprise people in being this low, because I love these, and Steve, I know, loves these, is the lightsaber.
What?
Oh, that's my number 4.
My number 2.
Oh, okay.
And the noise it makes as well. I've got lightsaber and the noise.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the whole idea of it, and anybody that has listened to me talk about Galaxy's Edge over the years, the spending stupid amounts of money on bringing 6 lightsabers back from Galaxy's Edge, I've got them up in my dining room. I would still just grab one and just hold it, because it's an amazing, just the idea of it, of a laser sword. Okay, a simple laser sword is fine, but the fact that everybody has a different one, and within the story, you have to make your lightsaber. You have to get the kyber crystal and make it and build the lightsaber around it. And it's more of, again, a mystic thing to create your lightsaber. Which, again, in Galaxy's Edge, I did made my own lightsaber, which, again, I cried. I cried doing it. I mean, you're going to. Yoda starts talking to you, you're going to cry making your lightsaber. As an actual weapon, I think it is just a beautiful piece of art. They just are. And even the toy ones, you still got to look at them and just in wonder at just the beauty of how they're designed.
But though, this is where my disappointment came as a kid, because the toy lightsabers that came out in the 70s were basically, I mean, and I found a photo of one online. I'll try to send it to you if I find it. It was literally a piece of red. It was the color of your headphones, Pav. And it was a red plastic torch with a long plastic thing in it.
I used to have
one.
And
it looked nothing like it did in the film. And this was my disappointment as a kid. So when I got older and I had a bit more of a, I fell back in love with Star Wars, I thought, can I buy the actual props? And I researched it. And there's a great backstory about how Roger Christian designed the lightsabers, and made from these, flash lamps from old vintage cameras.
That's right.
And I've managed to find one. I'm going to get my Luke Skywalker one, because that is my favorite. There we go. And they do look amazing. So that is what I wanted as a kid.
Yeah.
And, you managed to get one. And it is just, that is an old Graflex flash lamp with a bit of some rubber grips and a bit of tape on. And that's the lightsaber. And that's it is just absolutely fantastic. And you can imagine Roger Christian, the designer of this, just as he talks about finding it in a box in an old camera shop, and he goes, I found it, and it is just lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's all of the different design. I mean, I like Luke's Return of the Jedi lightsaber. That was the one that, like, when my wife very sillily said to me, "Which one lightsaber are you going to buy when we go to to Disney World?" There you go. There it is. I said, well, it's going to be that one because I absolutely love that one. I don't think the little block that's on the handle is very unpractical.
Yeah, it is. I've just realised my little green light's fallen off. Must find that.
No.
Anyway, yeah, it is. I mean, you would never design it like that.
It's not a clever one for fighting.
But this is, I mean, without getting too geeky about it, this is the different. This wasn't obviously made out of a flashlight. This was made on a lathe. You know, this is made out of a solid block of metal. So there we go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they're beautiful,
as you were.
Beautiful things. So you're number 4 then, Neil. So is that your favourite weapon?
Yes, at the start. Well, it's so iconic. It's so iconic with Star Wars, isn't it? A lightsaber, the noise. I mean, you heard the story. We've all heard the story of Ewan McGregor when he first got his. He had to keep being told whilst filming to stop buzzing along with it verbally, wasn't he? So, and like Steve said, I mean, we all wanted one as a kid. We were all disappointed with the 70s version, but then coming into the 80s, there was a bit better choice. I was always disappointed with the plastic as well. Always seemed to, for the actual the blade, as it were, always broke. On the second batch of the things that came on. But I used to fight with my brother. We used to have lightsaber fights in the bedroom or outside, and one had to be the Darth.
That's the one. Go. That's the one I remember. Yeah,
it was
basically a red torch.
Possessed them to do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
But do you remember the lightsabers on the little figures as well, like Luke's weird bent stick?
That's that's right. Yeah, the figures used to have the little telescopic ones that were in the arm.
Yeah,
that's it.
So disappointing.
Yeah, but so disappointing. They do look great, and I mean, I absolutely admire Steve's collection up there behind him. I think that just looks I would love to have something like that on my wall. One day, maybe.
Well, perhaps perhaps you got to go to Galaxy's Edge, and I mean, I bought them from different prop makers around the world. Perhaps just did the easy bit and spent loads of money, went to Galaxy's Edge.
If only
slightly more expensive version than mine.
Something got in the way for 2 years being able to get over there, but we will get there one day.
One day. Make sure you do. Okay. Right. So that was on number 10s. Steve, your number 9, please.
My number 9 is, sorry, just now that I've got my lightsaber photo up. My number 9 is, we talked about it already, the Emperor in The Rise of Skywalker. Sorry.
Okay.
Obviously we knew that he was going to come back because Ian McDiarmid appeared at Star Wars Celebration.
That's right.
But I just love I'm really into production design of stuff. And I just think that whole sequence at the beginning of the film with him plumbed into that machine. I love the character anyway, always have, even sort of liked him a little bit in the prequels. But for me, that Rise of Skywalker, the menace of it is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, absolutely loved it. And again, announcing that he's Rey's granddad is a bit weird, but no one was expecting that, were they?
Yeah.
That's true. And he is great especially as the Emperor.
He is, he's a great character.
I think it's that moment in the Star Wars Celebration when he came on, he goes, was it like, roll it again?
Yeah.
The crowd go wild.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing, well, I will say in a sec, the one thing about the trailers is that the trailers always sold the movies really, really well. Every single one of them, every single one.
But also, what an actor's joy to play the Emperor it must have been, because you could really ham it up, and it must have been a complete.
And I think what it gave you, I mean, again, with the production design, it gave you, I mean, that bit where Rey goes into the Death Star and that's crashed into the sea, to design the Emperor's throne room all mashed up, and it was just lovely. I loved that bit. I mean, I was quite geeking out. Oh, there's the window and there's the chat. Oh, look, and came back home and was comparing the two online to see how clever it, how close they got it to the original. And it was, I maybe I'm just sucked in by the production design rather than the story.
That's a lot of it. I think that is definitely a lot of it. Yeah. Go on then, Neil, you're number 9.
So it's a character, and it's Boba Fett, and this has a lot of meaning to me. When in the late 70s, probably on the second Star Wars rerun in the UK cinemas, there was a competition in the Sun newspaper, which I entered, and you had to write about your favourite bit. And I wrote about how the Jawas shot R2 and he fell over, and I won a load of characters, 6 of them. and they were probably a good 10, 12 inches high. And then after Empire Strikes Back came out, I still had these and I was playing with them. They were starting to get a bit worn and torn and broken. My mum and dad bought me the Boba Fett version to go with them all. And that's the only one I've still got because I love him. I love him to pieces. I wouldn't play with him because I didn't want to dirty him. I just thought he was the epitome of cool looking. And I just love him still. I mean, I love the TV series. I love the fact that it was just like watching a Leone Western almost.
It was just like watching The Mandalorian, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. It was a bit, but it was a bit more slow. It was a bit slower, wasn't it? It was a bit more. It was more of a Western than The Mandalorian is. You know, it was, like I said, it was very comparable to the Leone films to me.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed that. And I still think he looks damn cool.
No, he's a great character. In fact, he's part of my number 8 is the scene when he comes out of the Sarlacc pit in the Book of Boba Fett, which I think is perfect for the fans and absolutely amazing. You know, it was just compelling watching. Absolutely great character and underplayed, and now he's finally got his place, well-deserved place in Star Wars history, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree that he's very, very cool. I think the TV series, I don't think was as strong as it could have been. I think the moment that the Mandalorian turns up, I can remember watching it and I thought it was going to be Boba Fett behind the whatever shower curtain thing that he was behind. As soon as Mando came out, I went, there he is. Ah, bless him.
Yeah.
And I think it sort of like gave a little bit of disservice to Boba Fett that like the best thing about his TV show was the Mandalorian.
Yeah. I completely agree. It was great to see him, but then I was wondering, when's Boba Fett going to come back?
Yeah.
And actually, whether this is controversial or not, I don't know. You know, the episode where they had Luke and Baby Yoda together, you know, really clever. He looked more like Luke this time, really great. But I actually got a bit bored with it. And I thought, no, hang on, my personal view was you've taken it too far now. We don't need to see all of this. This is playing purely into the fans' hands just because you can. And I actually, for the first time, I went, I'm just going to fast forward a bit because it's not adding to the program. It was great. And it was, you know, doing the stuff that he'd done with Yoda. It's really great, lovely, but it was just too much and wasn't needed and didn't add anything. And I just thought a bit like the JJ got criticized for doing fan service in his sequels. It was a bit like that for me. They thought just because we can, we should, and my view is they shouldn't have done.
See, it's weird how people's opinions. I absolutely love that episode, especially for the fact that the difference between the deep fake Luke at the end of Mandalorian series 2 to that one is amazing. You wouldn't have known that was a deep fake. You'd have thought that somehow they put Luke in the DeLorean or Mark Hamill sent him back to 1983. And filmed him then. It was amazing. And for me, it is what the series needed because the show was starting to get a little bit stale for me. And I think it's because they didn't give Boba Fett enough to do. They made him too nice. You know, instead of being this ruthless bounty hunter, all of a sudden he was like a guy that wanted to look after the people. And I thought, no, that's not what Boba Fett should be doing. He should
But do you not think that all his time living with the Sand People and that and training and regaining his health and back from the brink of death might have changed how he was, you know, and then seeing the slaughter of those, you know, by those other people. I don't know. That's why I think he went like he did.
I'm not saying I don't like the series because I do like the series. I think, but for me, as soon as I saw I think it's because I love the Mandalorian. I think that's what it is. I'll have him in anything. I don't care. My number 9. I mentioned about the trailers. My number 9 is the Phantom Menace trailer. I can remember the talk of them saying that there was going to be another, because George Lucas always said that it was only going to be, there'll never be any, you know, prequels or anything. There's never going to be 6 movies or 9 movies. It's just going to be the 3. And I can remember I was working at Honda at the time, and my wife on my whatever crappy mobile phone I had in 1999, whenever it was, she said, I've just watched The Big Breakfast, she said, and listen to this. So I was listening on my phone and I could hear the start of the trailer. I said, that's not the fucking Phantom Menace trailer, is it? She went, yeah. I said, gee, I got to get home. And I remember watching it like, I don't know how many times. and just seeing Darth Maul lighting up his double-ended lightsaber, and seeing these weird creatures with long ears that look like rabbits, but like, you know, amazing, absolutely amazing. And there was something about that trailer that made me, I just could not wait for the film to come out. And the first time I saw the film, absolutely loved it. It was the best Star Wars film I ever saw. Gave it like 2 or 3 weeks, and I thought, no, actually, maybe it's not quite as good as I thought it was.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I've kind of sort of grown to love it a little bit more now, but I think that's with having the mindset of just, you can't change anything about it. Just look at it as a film and just enjoy it.
Yeah,
and,
enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and it's got everything that you want. It's got good lightsaber battles. The battle between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul at the end, I think, is just fantastic. There's so much, that one sort of melee that they're doing, and then they both stop at the same time. It's fantastic. It's got everything you want in a Star Wars film, but again, plot wise, I maybe would have changed a few things. Maybe George Lucas needed someone just to say, George, let's have a bit of a rewrite. Let's, you know.
Yeah, I paid to go and see The Prince of Egypt just so I could watch the trailer, because that's where it first dropped.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember The Prince of Egypt at all, but yeah, I remember the trailer coming on the big screen.
Oh, Lordy. Good times. Okay, so Steve, you said the Boba Fett Sarlacc pit moment was your number 8.
My number 9, my number 8, yeah.
Yeah, so Neil, what's your number 8?
So it's a vehicle, and it's the X-Wing.
None of that's on my list. That's cool.
Yeah, I just it's one of those ones. I've got a few Lego models of an X-Wing behind me, tucked away. I love the design of this, and like Steve said, in the playground after seeing the movie, and especially after Empire Strikes Back, we're seeing Luke take it down. We all had an X-Wing. It was your turn in the playground to be the X-Wing pilot, or I always remember there was always a kid who had to play the droid in the back. poor sod. But it's just, I know we ban this word around, but it's another iconic vehicle, isn't it? Movie vehicle. It's it's synonymous with Star Wars itself. You know, when you see one, what it's from. And I dare say, apart from if you're a newborn, most people would know what it is. And yeah, it's a great looking thing, because it almost looks like those biplanes that he used originally to fill in the dogfights, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it's still got that look to it. So it's got like an old-fashioned look, yet modern. And I love that design. I really do love the way they did those. Yeah.
Agreed.
It was only a few years ago that I realized or found out that they're called S foils and not X foils. When it says put your S foils in attack position, which is like to make it look like an X, I always thought it was an X foil.
So
because they're an X. No, it's an S foil apparently.
Right.
Really? Yeah. That's a level of geek that I didn't. I'm not.
You know what, Steve? No. I was expecting you to go. Yeah. Well, how did you not know that?
No.
Yeah. I mean, you're right though. It all goes down to production design again. It's just amazing stuff that looks like it's got its perfect place in that universe, in that galaxy.
And I always remember a few years ago, I was lucky enough to go to the Secret Cinema Star Wars, which is this immersive cinematic experience. And you spend the first 3 hours walking through the first film, and then you go and watch The Empire Strikes Back, and they recreate scenes from the film. So you go into this, we went into this warehouse effectively that had been turned into Tatooine, and then you went on a ship and you ended up on the Death Star. And then they do the bit at the end, the trench run at the end. And, you're in this huge hangar of a warehouse. And if you Google Secret Cinema Star Wars, this, I was with my wife and daughter, and I cried at this moment. Okay. The X-Wing comes out of the ceiling, right?
Oh, wow.
And shoots at the Death Star. And it, not only does it come out and fly down, it lands and Luke gets out. Okay. So it was, it was just, and you got 1,000 people cheering. It's like, it's just the most incredible experience. And to see a full-size X-Wing fly down and land and Luke get out, and everyone's going, yeah, he's done it. It was amazing. Absolutely incredible. I'll never, ever forget it. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Did you get that in Galaxy's Edge, pal?
No.
No, you didn't.
I mean, look, I was stood in front of the Millennium Falcon, but I mean that.
Yeah.
I would love to go to one of those things, especially if it was a Star Wars thing. I bet that must be amazing.
It is. They've just announced Guardians of the Galaxy.
Have they really? And where's do they don't say
They're in
where-
London. It's in London. Yeah,
London,
I
is
mean,
it?
we've been to a few of them. I don't work for them at all. I just really love the whole experience. Yeah, we've been to a few of them. They are really, really good. Very, very.
Guardians
Oh, that'd
of the
be fun,
Galaxy
wouldn't it?
would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
A giant Groot will come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'd like to say
great.
that other immersive cinema experiences are available, but I don't think they are.
No.
Secret Cinema have got it sewn up.
Fair play. My number 8 is something from The Mandalorian, and it is Grogu. As anyone can see behind me, I have a vast collection of different sized Grogus, or Baby Yoda, as it was originally. I can remember watching that very first episode, and it finishes with Mando just poking his finger into this like pram kind of thing, and this little finger sort of poked back at him, and we were wondering what the hell it was. And it's just a stroke of genius to make it a Baby Yoda. No one who would have known about that show would have predicted that that's what it would have been. It would have been a baby-sized Yoda that was 50 years old. Fantastic bit of design. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen. And it is also just a fantastic storyline that it's the wolf and the cub. It's this hardened mercenary bounty hunter, whatever you want to call, finally finds his heart. He has to protect this little child. And I'm a sucker for that. I'm absolutely sucker for that. So yeah, that's my number 8.
And also, it's a clever bit of marketing as well, isn't it? Because
Fantastic.
not only is it a cute character, but you can sell loads of merchandise. All the kids love it, whether they've seen The Mandalorian or not. My daughter went, "Oh, there's this really cute Baby Yoda thing." I went, "Yeah. Well, it's on the telly," and so very, very clever, very clever.
It was very clever.
With the Build-A-Bear and all that stuff that you can't beat it.
No,
you can't beat it. Right then, Steve, your number 7, please.
My number 7 is the cantina scene in A New Hope, which again is just fantastic. I think it's one of the things I remember as a kid of watching the film. I think it's the first time you just saw all these weird and wonderful aliens and characters. And there's that moment of drama when Obi-Wan chops off Dr. Thingamajig's arm, whose name I always forget. Great cameo of them in Rogue One, of course.
Right.
And, that you've got all that, and you're meeting Han and Chewie for the first time, and you're getting a sense of this, well, it's a place of scum and villainy. It is just absolutely brilliant. And I just love the whole scene, and R2 and C-3PO being kicked out because they're droids, and it's just wonderful. And when we went to Secret Cinema, they had one there that you can go to have a drink in, so that was quite nice to stand at the bar. But for me, it's an iconic scene.
It is. It really is.
Figuring Dan and the Modal Nodes.
That's just what I was going to ask. Remind us what it was.
That was the name of the band. And I was just going to try because that was one of my movie songs, wasn't it?
It was.
That first one. And it's got, did you know it had a title of that song?
Has it got, really? No.
It has. It is called, hang on a sec. It is called Mad About Me.
Wow.
There you go. That's what it's called. That one's called Mad About Me.
Who knew? Well,
there you go.
Obviously, yeah.
That was number 2
Steve,
in my
when you
movie
went to the
songs.
Secret Cinema and you went to the bar, did they serve Star Wars related drinks, or was it just normal?
No, I had a beer.
Right. Were they offering other drinks?
No, they weren't. No. It was that was how they made their money. I think extra money that you sell drinks. Yeah. But on the cantina scene, in terms of the production design, there's the lot of the bits behind the bar where the drinks come out of are parts of a Rolls-Royce jet engine. And it's also the bit that makes IG-88's head. Right. And it's a bit of local knowledge for you, not far from you guys, at the AV8 restaurant at Cotswold Airport.
Yeah.
You go in there for a cup of tea, and you can just go for you can go and watch the planes. They've got 3 of them above the bar, which they've turned into lights. And I walked in and I went, "Oh, you got IG-88's head?" And they went, "What?" So yeah,
I didn't know that.
There you go.
Wow. See, Galaxy's Edge, you can go for a drink in the cantina, but
can you? And you can have blue milk. Can you?
Couldn't get in there. Oh, you can have blue and green milk on the street, but yeah, I couldn't get a reservation to get into the cantina because it was always. But also, I think
an excuse to go back.
Yeah, in LA, Hollywood Boulevard, there's a scum and villainy cantina, which is like. Yeah, I mean, they call it scum and villainy because they're not allowed to call it anything Star Wars.
Yeah,
but there is like a mock-up of the cantina.
Great!
Like a pop-up bar that you can just go and have drinks.
Why wasn't that there when we went?
I know. That's where Kevin Smith does his Fat Man on Batman or Fat Man Beyond podcast.
Oh, is it?
In there, yeah. Go on then, Neil, you're number 7.
So it's a sassy little droid. It's R2D2. It's sort of the first.
My number 6.
Is it?
Number 6.
So who knew that Dusty Bin could become really trendy? No, it is. I mean,
there we go. There
it is. We've all got
It is.
droids everywhere. But I think he's a fantastic little character. I love his little sass, the way he argues. I mean, when you listen to him beep and twerp and tweet, you sort of know what he's saying, don't you? You can follow along. But he's so collectible, and I've got him on my key ring, I've got him in my car as the air freshener and everything, still to get the same thing. I think he just looks cool compared to the droids that we were used to. I mean, the only one I sort of seem to remember watching as a young age was Silent Running. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And Dewey and they called him Dewey and Louie, was it? The little, I've seen it in The Sins, and that was you knew that was a man inside something. When I was a kid, at the same age, I didn't know there was a little Kenny Baker inside of R2. I thought it was like remote control and off he went. I just think he looks amazing. I think it still holds up. The design of him looks great now.
Actually, I've just thought, Anna, you asked us earlier what was the one thing I'd still like. I would like a full-size R2D2, actually.
There you go.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that wouldn't it?
I mean, I do follow the R2D2 Builders Club on Facebook, and they're just amazing. And you would have seen them at Star Wars Celebration, when we all met up. They had an amazing, just all that long row of R2s they had, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Really great.
$25,000 at Galaxy's Edge if you want to buy one.
Really?
Yeah,
amazing.
Full size. Yeah. Next time I'm there, mate, I'll get you one, shall I?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Can you get me one as well?
I'll get you one as well.
I'll have 2.
Okay. Okay, right. So my number 7 is the I Love You, I Know scene from Empire Strikes Back. I've got a tattoo that says I love you, I know, which my wife got me for one birthday that I didn't realize I was going for a tattoo, and she got the same, slightly different, but the same words as a tattoo as well. I think it tells you everything you need to know about Han Solo as a character, that scene, that it is absolutely perfect. And it gets called back in Return of the Jedi where he says the same thing to Leia and Leia says, I know back. I think it's one of those. It's one of the scenes. I never put it down as one of my Star Wars things because this sort of encompasses the whole thing, and the fact that it was an ad lib. It wasn't the line that Harrison Ford was supposed to say, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect as a character thing for Han Solo to say to the woman that he loves.
Yeah, it is. It's an incredible scene, and that moment, the fact it is ad libbed and it was improvised on the day, just says a lot. And it's sometimes some of the things that become the most iconic are the things that are done on the fly, and that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's because you got somebody that knows the character, and somebody knows that Han Solo wouldn't say "I love you" back. He's not that type of person, but he'll say "I know." I fucking love that. I absolutely love it. I do.
And do you want to know a little secret about the set?
Go on.
So when we interviewed Norman Reynolds, who's the production designer, so he said to Irvin Kershner, who was the director, he built the set on the Friday, and he said, I remember him saying to me, he said, I showed Kersh the set on the Friday, and it was a big circular set. And Kersh said, Norm, I can't film on this. There's nowhere for cameras. I can't film on it. You'll have to sort it out. And it was a Friday, he said. So we all went home for the weekend. He said, I spent the whole weekend thinking, what am I going to do? It's one of the most important scenes in the film. Came back on the Monday. We had an early meeting with our designers and what we're going to do with this. And anyway, we turned up. We thought we're just going to have to go for it. And Kersh turned up. He went, Norm, that set, greatest set of the movie. He'd forgotten that on the Friday he'd said it was the worst set of all time. He couldn't shoot in it. So this is a great set. Once they put the cameras and the lights in, he suddenly realised how great it was. Yeah. So Norm had 48 hours of absolute panic.
I mean, lucky you forgot.
You're very lucky to have met. I mean, he's an absolute genius, Norman Reynolds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The full interview is still available on YouTube. I just did the Force then. I just did the Force. Well, you will watch it.
Finish watching this one first, and then go and watch it. But yeah, I don't think Star Wars would look like Star Wars if it wasn't for Norman Reynolds.
No, absolutely. And him and his team that worked on it for all. I mean, he was art director on A New Hope, and then production designer for Empire and Jedi. And that they gave it the Star Wars look, obviously all based on Ralph McQuarrie's drawings, but they got the used universe right, didn't they? And absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely. Okay, so Knibbsy, your number 6 was R2D2.
It was, yep.
So Neil, what is your number 6?
So this goes back again to childhood. I always wanted, we spoke about this, toys that we wanted. I always wanted the Millennium Falcon, never got it. My brother did, but my mum and dad bought me the AT-AT, and I did fall in love with it, and completely still think it's a great design. I mean, when they rock up in Last Jedi, I just think it looks amazing still. And yeah, I mean, I don't know where they got the idea from it for. And the whole sequence in Empire Strikes Back at the beginning on Hoth when they attack, I think it's one of the, I know it's looks very dated now with the effects and everything, but I think it's one of the greatest openings in movie history myself.
I wouldn't say it does look particularly dated.
Oh, some of the back screen shots are
but as an action sequence,
it's still phenomenal.
It's
isn't
fantastic.
It?
I mean, I don't think they're particularly practical weapons.
See, the only thing that gets me with it is they're so slow.
Yeah,
it takes them a long time to get anywhere. Yeah. Why didn't the rebels go and blow them up earlier? Because they knew they were coming. Yeah. They waited until they got really close to the base, and then they had to go. It's like there'll be a few days yet. Oh, well, wait till they get closer before
One of the things I'd love to get is my AT-AT back. Another one. I'd love to have that up on my wall or on my shelf again. Yeah. I really did. I fell in love with it. I mean, I was always disappointed I never got the Millennium Falcon and bitter that my brother did. But yeah, I did fall in love with that, and I still pine to get one again.
If you can help Neil get his AT-AT back, call the number on your screen now.
That's it. We'll have a whole night dedicated to it. We'll get celebs and everybody. And there'll be the short 5-minute videos of me weeping that I haven't got it anymore.
I just thought as well, after Steve said about the fact that they are so slow, all the rebels needed to do was to dig a massive trench. There's no way that they would have got over. They couldn't, like the AT-ATs couldn't jump, could they? They'd have been fucked.
Well,
they
not
didn't know where to go.
Not that you know of. We didn't know if R2 could fly, could we?
Well, that's true.
So we don't know. They might be able to jump. They might be able to run on their back legs. Who knows?
That is true. Okay. My number 6 is, again, Steve mentioned this, is actually Star Wars Celebration of 2016. To be in the same room as Mark Hamill and the late Carrie Fisher, we were very lucky, Neil, weren't we? Because we decided beforehand which shows we wanted to go to, and you had to get there at like 6 a.m. to get your wristbands for certain shows and certain what were they called? Were they talks or meetings or whatever they called presentations, and we got everyone we wanted to go to, didn't we? We were very lucky. So we saw the Rogue One presentation where one of the guys gave a massive spoiler.
Yeah,
one of the guys died in it.
Did he?
Yeah, he said it live on stage.
He the Donnie Yen, is it?
Yeah, Donnie Yen, but it's not.
He's the one that died. It was his mate, because he couldn't speak English very well, and he mentioned, and as soon as he said about the fact that Donnie dies, everyone looked and went, "Oh no, oh god!" So but it was so much fun. Warwick Davis dressed up as an Ewok and being chased around by Carrie Fisher's dog.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah.
That was great. And then he came up to me on his what do they call them? What are those scooter things?
Segways.
And asked me to do a Chewie impression. That was then apparently played. There was loads of people that did it, because I kept getting text messages saying, "Just seen your big ugly mug on the big screen doing a Chewie impression."
Amazing.
It was a fantastic weekend. It was so much fun. It was tiring, but it was so much fun.
I hope it comes back to the UK again, because it was brilliant. Yeah, I mean, you were completely in Nerdland, weren't you?
Oh, it was fantastic. But it's is it in Florida or is it in LA? In June?
Yeah, I think it's in the States in June. Yeah.
So they're back doing it again. Hopefully it'll come back here again, because I couldn't afford to get photos or because it was like
No,
100
they're
quid
stupid.
or something.
There's stupid prices for a photo. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
crazy. Then again, I suppose if you know now what you know then, you might have got Carrie Fisher's autograph or a photograph with Carrie Fisher, but you wouldn't have known. You know,
You wouldn't, but would you sell it?
No, I wouldn't sell it. No,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, maybe if you could get another trip to Galaxy's Edge.
maybe, or go on the Star Cruiser. Have you seen that?
I have.
thing?
Yeah.
Is that for was it $4,800? Do you fancy doing that?
It's tempting, not for that price.
No.
The trouble is, I've got no one else that'll go with me. Like my wife and daughter said, well, we're not going there with you. You'll just be looking like that and stuff.
Yeah, if we got one more person, that we could all share one cabin, and it'd be like $1,500 each.
Well, there's a thought. Yeah, there's a thought.
There's a thought. But imagine that, 3 of us and another guy, or a lady, I don't know, I don't know, sharing a little cabin. Oh, there's only one.
Yeah, you might have to pay me for that.
Okay, then, Steve, you're number 5, please.
My number 5 is the trench run in A New Hope. We've talked about this briefly, haven't we?
Yeah.
Again, it's just moments in cinema history for me that were really iconic, and that is just full of great. It's full of jeopardy. You think that Luke's not going to make it, then he misses, and then that lovely moment when Han comes in the Falcon and just gives him that little nudge, that little bit of a helping hand. With Ghost Obi-Wan geeing him on as well. I mean, it's just the most amazing piece of cinema, and looks as fresh today as it did all those years ago. And considering they did it with no CG, it was all blue screen and running down a model of the trench. And in fact, a really good friend of mine, Richard Greenaway at Points West, he got me this. He's got a friend that makes these, and he sent me this as a present, and it's a little 3D render of the exhaust port.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it brilliantly well, but
cool.
It's really, really nice. It's just got the amazing detail on it, because you could buy bits of it at Star Wars Celebration, couldn't you?
That's
the
right.
original one. It was like $6,000 for a turret or something.
Yeah.
So for me, that was great. I remember seeing the behind the scenes making of where they put the Death Star out in the car park and just ran a camera really low over it. Really fantastic.
See, that sort of piece of art that you got there, only a Star Wars fan is going to know what that is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You could show a Star Wars fan that and he's going to go, oh my God, that's the exhaust port. Show anybody else and they're not going to, what the hell is that? What have you got that in a frame for?
Yeah, exactly.
That is really cool. That is really cool.
So that's number 5, sorry.
That was number 5. Okay, then, Neil, you're number 5.
So Steve talked about him briefly in a scene. I'm going to have him as a full character, and probably one of the greatest movie villains of all time is Darth Vader. I think just the whole look of him, the sinisterness. He was scary when I was younger. I was always scared of the scene when when Leia's in the cell and the ball comes in with the needles and everything. That always used to scare me as a kid. That little bit, Vader coming in, it used to worry me. I don't know why.
That big needle.
Yeah, probably. But Vader was always quite, intimidating as a child as well. And I think now, I mean, if I could have, I would love to get a stormtrooper outfit. It wouldn't look great on me. A bit short for a stormtrooper. No, I'd be a bit chubby for a stormtrooper. But I'd love to get a proper Darth Vader as well and have that. I think that would look fantastic. If not just the helmet.
Well, the black, if you can see on the up on the top there.
Yeah,
the Black Series Darth Vader helmet is fantastic. It is really well detailed. A little bit claustrophobic because you've got to put something around your neck,
right,
as well as putting the main bit on. But that's got some heft to it. Next time you come round, Neil, you can try the Darth Vader helmet on. Yeah, you'll try that. That was the one thing I meant to say about the trench run. I was watching it again on Disney Plus, where it's like, Ultra HD and everything. One scene in the trench run when it shows Vader's helmet, I'd never, and all the 45 years of watching the movie, you can see the person behind the mask.
Can you?
You can see his eyes. I took a screenshot of it and put it up on Twitter. I said, I've never seen this before. And it doesn't look like it's Dave Prowse. It must be just like somebody else. I'll see if I've still got, I'll send it to you, Steve, and I'll put it up on the YouTube. God, I sound so old. I'll put it up on the YouTube.
You're going to put it on the World Wide Web?
I'll put it on the www. And I was I was mesmerized. I thought, I've never noticed that before. You can see the guy's eyes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
Really,
look
yeah,
now.
really, really strange. I'll find it and I'll send it to you as well, Neil.
Well, Darth Vader's my number 4. Actually, it was mainly
okay.
it was the bit where he says, "Luke, I'm your father." It's an amazing moment, but I wanted to talk more about the character. So yeah, I'm with you, a great character. But you know what a difference it would have been if they hadn't used James Earl Jones as the voice. Those great videos of Dave and his, bless him, much miss Dave Prowse and his lovely Bristolian accent. Not very menacing, I would suggest.
Darth Tractor, they called him on set.
Darth Tractor.
They did, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be interesting whether James Earl Jones comes back for the Obi-Wan series. I mean, he has to.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, he's got to. Yeah.
But I don't know whether he did for the like the Clone Wars or Rebels, whatever. I don't know if he did the voice.
I'm not sure.
It doesn't really matter for the animated series, I suppose, does it?
No. But it's been very good with the fact that they like Ian McDiarmid. He managed to do all the movies. You know, nothing's happened to him. James Earl Jones the same. John Williams with the music has managed to do all of the movies, and it's that continuation that sort of makes it feel a little bit more special.
Yeah. Do we know whether Ian McDiarmid is going to be in Obi-Wan? Is the Emperor going to be in Obi-Wan?
News, is there? It's not.
They haven't said anything. No, they haven't. It's all been about like Hayden Christensen. But then
he's been in hiding, hasn't he? When he was thrown down the vent, the shaft there.
Well, yeah, but this is between episode 3 and 4, isn't it? So the Emperor hasn't died yet.
Yeah, the Emperor's still alive.
The Emperor's still alive.
Of course he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, he never really died, did he?
But yes, that's true.
That's what I was going to say.
He never really died.
But yeah, pre-shaft.
I could lower the tone with that, but I'm not going to.
I don't know what you mean.
No, my number 5 is Luke's return in the Mandalorian Series 2 final, the finale. Sorry. Now, I know that the deep fake wasn't particularly fantastic in regards to that. It was a little bit ropey, but that actual scene when you hear the beep, 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 and I can't remember which character says it, but it says, one X-wing. I mean, that's not going to really help us out, is it? And then you see that cloaked figure and you think they're not going to bring Luke back. They can't do. And then you see the green lightsaber and you think this is fucking epic. Oh my God. You've only got to go on to the YouTube and see all of the reaction videos where people are crying.
That is my number 3, actually. I think it's probably one of the greatest Star Wars moments ever. I think it's just, I remember when I was watching it, I'm in my basement at the moment and directly above is our lounge, and my wife and daughter were down here watching some house program or something. I said, I've got to watch the finale of The Mandalorian. And I was cheering and I was crying, and they came, what's the matter? Well, you got to look at this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Magical, absolutely. And the fact that you couldn't really see it properly because they were watching some of it was on like a CCTV, and just fantastic seeing Luke in perfect like Jedi Knight action.
Yeah,
not just killing them with a lightsaber, but using the Force to crush them and move them out of the way. And then just the beautiful moment of Grogu saying goodbye to Mando. It's just fantastic. It's everything that you want in Star Wars. And like you said, Steve, at that moment, the first thing I thought of was, God, why didn't they give Jon Favreau the trilogy, the sequel trilogy? I think
there's a meme going around, isn't there, of J.J. Abrams saying it's really difficult to please everybody when you're making a Star Wars sequel, and Jon Favreau's going, hold my beer.
That makes so much sense.
But and don't forget, of course, in that scene, R2D2. That was a lovely moment. So it is a great scene, and I can watch that all the time. You get a little bit disappointed by the Uncanny Valley sort of deep fake, but so you get a little bit annoyed at that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I'd rather they hadn't showed him close up, because he's moving really slowly close up and his voice is very different. But we know it's not real Luke, so you just got it. It's only a film. It's only a program.
Exactly. Yeah. But then, like, watching it from the Boba Fett series, how different and how much better it is between what would have been a space of a year. Imagine what the deepfake is going to be like in another year's time or 2 years' time. They could easily do like a Luke Skywalker series, I think, using that technology where it's Luke starting up his Jedi training and what happened with all of that. Whether they will is another thing, but I just think it's that technology is there now that they could bring anybody back now.
Yeah.
And
I sort of disagree with that. They can do it, but again, it's, you know, I think a series of Luke, that'd be too much for me.
Do you think so?
I think so. Yeah. They don't need to do that. I don't think.
No.
I'm sure there is a demand for it, but again, you know, we disagree, don't we, over that scene in Boba Fett, that episode. So I think just because you can doesn't, well, to quote Jurassic Park, just because you can doesn't mean you should, or something like that.
It's something like that.
Yeah,
I agree. To be fair, I think it's like that with any of the TV. Like, they don't need to fill in what Obi-Wan Kenobi did in between episode 3 and episode 4, but it's going to make very interesting TV, and just to have Ewan McGregor back is going to be great. Okay, so that was my number 5. So, Steve, your number 4 was Darth Vader.
My number 4 was Darth Vader, yeah, and my number 3 was Luke's appearance in The Mandalorian. So I've done that.
And Neil, your number 4 was the lightsaber.
It was.
My number 4, we've spoken about it pretty much all the way through this, is Star Wars production design. Just all of it. I think there isn't any other film or series of movies where every single piece of Star Wars design is just on the nose fantastic. I will look at the Millennium Falcon. I will look at the TIE Fighter. I've got all my pop figures here. The Slave One, the Rancor, any bit that is designed, the droids, Vader, Kylo Ren, it's perfect. None of it ever looks forced, if you pardon the pun.
See what you did there?
Yeah, it always looks like it is absolutely practical to the galaxy and the world that they're in. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you look at some I think things like Tron, and some of that, it looks like they've made that to try and make it look cool, and it doesn't seem to work. Whereas Star Wars, everything in it, the guns, every weapon, but like you say, Steve, it's all made from stuff that is just lying around.
Yeah, I mean, all of the stuff in the first film, none of that was really bespoke. I mean, the Stormtrooper guns were adapted rifles that they found in a munitions shop, and everything was just made to. Obviously, the vehicles were different, but it was just all made to look really old. And what a genius idea that we don't want it to look new. Yeah, we're not doing 2001. And you're right. I think they were working on very tight budgets to a schedule, to a film that none of them really knew what it was about until they saw the first or second cut. So nobody really knew what was going on. It was only in George Lucas's head. Yeah. But it just one of those magical times in life where everything just came together.
Yeah. Well, Jamie Benning, who joined us for the movie vehicle episode, has a great podcast called Filmumentaries. And he's been putting up on Twitter some behind the scenes photos of I think A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. And there's a picture of just stacks of Airfix models that the guys from the first movie, that's what they used to break up and use little Ghiblis or something.
Greeblies.
It's
called kit bashing. Yeah, that's how they did it. So you know, and I'll talk about it in a minute because it's higher up my list. But when you make the models, it's all replicas of the Airfix kits that they used. Yeah, and some people, you know, they're passionate about getting the original Airfix kits and the little bits and making the models with original parts, not 3D printed ones or replicas. Amazing. Yeah,
it's also like Han Solo's blaster was originally I can't remember the name of the gun, but it was like a German pistol.
Is it a Mauser?
Mauser, that's right. Yeah. And then people online are just like snapping up all these original Mausers because they want to cut the barrel off and make it into a Han Solo DL-44.
If a Graflex flash gun comes on eBay, it'll go for hundreds and hundreds of pounds. You know, so just because somebody wants to make a lightsaber out of an original Graflex rather than a replica.
It's wonderful. I love it all. Okay, so as you said, Steve, your number 3 was Luke in The Mandalorian. So Neil, what's your number 3?
So it's a character again, and it's the one that all us boys, the man that all us boys wanted to be. Well, I assume we all wanted to be. It's Han Solo. Particularly in the first two movies when you were all young, and he was the hero of the tale. You know, I don't know what it was about Luke that never struck me as being, I don't know, maybe he was a bit whiny when I was young, and Han Solo was very cocksure, wasn't he, and off and away. But it also resonates with Harrison Ford. He was great because I still have a real affinity for Indiana Jones as well. And I think it's what he brought to the character that made it that you wanted to be Han Solo. Han Solo was the cool one. Han Solo had the coolest suit and things like that. So, yeah, I think Star Wars would be a shitty universe without him, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Really
and isn't it great that he did the sequels, because you know, he's the one character you wanted. Well, you wanted all of them back, and it wouldn't have been the same had he not wanted to do it.
I think it would have been awful if they'd have killed him off in Return of the Jedi like he originally wanted to be.
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, thinking about it,
even that moment when he's back in Rise of Skywalker is lovely.
Yeah. That's my favorite scene of that movie, without a doubt. He looks a little bit different. It looks like he's maybe had some work done on some Botox.
He's technically dead, Pavel.
But
I mean,
that's true.
Credit.
That's true.
You know.
But I will say, after The Force Awakens and after what happens to him in Force Awakens, I find it very hard watching A New Hope, because he's young, he's like I say, he's cocksure, and I'm thinking to myself all the way through watching A New Hope, you don't know what's going to happen to your son. Is going to kill you.
Yeah.
It's so heartbreaking, because he's there and he's like, you know, he's chatting up Princess Leia, and it was really hard to watch the New Hope. I'm all right now. I've got over it now, but but it was just really strange. It was a strange feeling.
Does anybody know how he was going to die in Return of the Jedi? If they were going to do it, how they were going to off him?
I don't know.
It's obviously
I have no idea.
Handed around a lot, wasn't it? No, I
don't think it was ever really. I mean, it might be online somewhere.
Yeah, I must have a look.
Okay. My number 3 is The Mandalorian. Talk about design. I will still just sit and look at my helmet. That sounds really bad. the one that's up there, my Mandalorian helmet. I always got to let the side down. I think it's a thing of beauty. I know it's only a Black Series one, and there's ones you can get that's a lot more expensive than that. But I think the sleekness of it, the character as well. I love the character, but the whole design of that character, the way he looks, I don't think it doesn't matter how he stands. He always just seems to look really, really cool.
Yeah.
And there isn't anything about that character that I don't love. And that, I think, really ignited my love for Star Wars back again. Yeah. Right from the very first episode.
Because it looks like Star Wars.
Yeah. Exactly.
It looks like Star Wars. Yeah.
Exactly. And it feels like it could have been filmed back in 77. You know, it's the whole aesthetic of it all is that it's dirty and grubby and it's not shiny, which I think there was one of the things about the prequel trilogy is everything, like especially on Naboo, everything was very shiny. All the ships were shiny, everything was shiny, beautiful palaces and stuff, whereas this is like gritty and grimy and lovely.
Agreed. I'm with you 100% on that. It's a fantastic series.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely. Good. I'm glad everybody agrees to that one. So, Steve, you had the lightsaber at number 2.
I did.
Neil, what's your number 2?
So I personally believe the movies and everything wouldn't be what they were without John Williams. So it's John Williams' score. I still listen to them now. I think it probably is one of the best movie scores or themes ever. And I don't think it's been topped. I mean, some people might argue, but I just think they wouldn't be the film they are without it. Truly. And so, yeah, John Williams.
No, absolutely. And you can put that music on his, you can put it on at any time. It's instantly recognizable. Even an incidental piece of music, you know exactly where it's from. And the fact that the music that he wrote for all of them, and including Rise of Skywalker, was just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, without a doubt, I'm 100% with you. I'm just going to disappear for a sec while I plug my battery in. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
How professional.
Yeah.
I
I still, like you say, and it's nice to listen to the scores as well through your headphones, and just you can picture what's going on in the movie. And it's quite often when I'm led in bed after I've read my book and I want a bit of music to fall asleep to, I quite often put one of the soundtracks on.
Well, that's the eye-opening thing about the A New Hope soundtrack. Is like the second track or whatever is the ship coming over, but it also has the bit where the Death Star is going to blow up at the end of that particular piece of music, which is a little bit confusing because that's the start of the movie and the end of the movie in one track.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But that's true. I'm not having a go at him. I'll say a little bit more about that subject a little bit later on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. So my number 2 is the best ship in the world, the best movie vehicle in the world, the Millennium Falcon. Has to be for me. Only number 2 because of, I've said this before, because of my number 1, which of course makes sense. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Until you've sat with a Millennium Falcon in front of you with the sun going down, you don't realize just how beautiful it is. And seeing it as a full-size ship in front of you is breathtaking. It's absolutely, it's like the next wonder of the world when you see it in front of you as a tangible thing that you can get pretty close to. You can't get right up close to it, but you can get pretty close to it. Beautiful design of it. Iconic. I'm quite happy to say that word for the Millennium Falcon. And I can't wait to see Steve's finished model. To get on with it, man.
It's in the loft, so I can't even show it you, but I am 150% behind you on that. It is the most amazing design. I was lucky enough to sit in the cockpit when it was at Harrods and have my photos taken of that. That was a fanboy moment. I am hugely jealous of you going to Galaxy's Edge. It is on my bucket list. I just want to go in like you, stare at it and go, because it is just an incredible piece of design, and it's iconic. It's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, everything. And yeah, it just works. I mean, it's completely, when you look at it, it doesn't actually fit in the model doesn't actually work for it to be full size. You couldn't actually fit inside it, apparently.
Yeah, right.
If you walked around it, but that's a minor detail. But yeah, it is the coolest ship, really. And I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I've got models of it. I've got books about it. I've got more videos about the design of it than I care to imagine. And I'm building one as well. And when I went to the Star Wars exhibition, it was in London a few years ago, and they had the original model there. And I think I took about 200 photos of it on my phone. And, it was just staring at it because it's, again, made with those Airfix kits, all kit bashed, all the original bits. Absolutely amazing. And yes, I am with you 150%.
And it when you do look at it, it's like you feel like every little pipe, every little piece of like gribbly has a job. It has a job to do, and that's why I love those the cross sections books.
Yeah,
where it will tell you exactly what that is for and what exhaust port that is, and I love all that kind of like.
See, when Force Awakens came out, I was even geek enough to compare the photos of the Millennium Falcon with the original, and they got it absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Right. Before we reveal our number 1 Star Wars thing, Steve, if you want to give us a rundown between number 10 and number 2, please.
Yeah. So my 10 was Darth Vader's attack at the end of Rogue One, going on to Tantive 4. Number 9 was the Emperor in Rise of Skywalker. 8, Boba Fett escaping the Sarlacc pit. 7, the Cantina. 6, R2-D2. 5, the Trench Run. 4, Darth Vader. 3, Luke's appearance in The Mandalorian. 2, lightsabers, Luke's lightsaber, whatever. And
Lovely.
number 1.
No, don't give us your number 1 yet. Neil, give us your 10 to 2, please.
Here we go. Number 10, I had the Force. Number 9 was Boba Fett. Number 8 was the X-Wing. Number 7, R2-D2. Number 6, AT-AT. Number 5, Darth Vader. 4, the lightsaber. 3, Han Solo. And number 2, John Williams' score.
Lovely. And mine is number 10, the lightsaber. 9, the Phantom Menace trailer. 8, Grogu. 7, I Love You, I Know. 6, the Star Wars Celebration 2016. 5, Luke's return in the Mandalorian Series 2 finale. 4, Star Wars production design. 3, The Mandalorian, and number 2, The Millennium Falcon. So, Steve, what is your number 1 Star Wars thing?
The Millennium Falcon.
Hey!
Hey,
Well, I might
so-
as well join in because that's my number 1.
Ah,
as well.
brilliant, Neil. Amazing.
Yeah, that's my number 1. Yeah, the most iconic, I would say, movie spaceship out there.
And probably the only thing that we've talked about that I haven't got a bit of in my little studio. I'm just checking it. I haven't got anything. Sadly not, no. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. And I envy you, Pav. I really do. I mean, we
me too.
both spoke about it, but Galaxy's Edge, I mean, hell, we must have another business trip coming up soon, mate.
I'll be there for it, mate. My wife won't like it, but I'll be there for it. And we'll bring Nibsy along as well, I reckon.
Yeah, come along on our
Excellent.
business trip, Nibsy.
That sounds great. That sounds a really good idea.
It's definitely, I mean, I was very lucky to go, but to be able to go, I think my wife was done after an hour of walking around Galaxy's Edge. She said, I've seen it all, that's fine. So the following day or a couple of days later when I went by myself, and I stayed in a hotel on the Disney World lot so I could get there the following day at like rope drop, or I think it's magic hour, so you go like an hour earlier. But to see the sun going down, so you have like a beautiful sort of orangey purple sky and a dark sky, and I sat there. I think I sat there for about an hour and a half, not doing anything, just sat there watching the sun going down. It was the closest thing I've come to like a spiritual experience I've ever had in my life.
You felt the force.
I genuinely did. I genuinely did, because I don't think you can't compute in your mind what this thing, you see it on I've seen it millions of times on the screen or on pictures or whatever, but to see it as an actual thing in front of you it's just a beautiful thing. And it's as much as you think it's a beautiful design, to see it up close and to literally see every wire and pipe and tube, it's just fantastic.
And also testament to the people that put it together for the new films and for Galaxy's Edge, because when it was put together originally, it was just a load of car and engine parts and jet plane parts.
Yeah,
they slapped on in no particular order. So to recreate it is amazing.
I did think to myself this morning, I thought, if I ever win the lottery and I've got a few million, I would pay someone to make me a full-size Millennium Falcon to have in the garden of wherever I was living, because I wouldn't.
Would you be able to go in it or just to look?
Oh, yeah, I would have it completely kitted out exactly like as it would be in real life. So
Amazing.
I could go inside, be outside. I mean, obviously not fly. That's ridiculous. But just have a, wouldn't it be amazing? But anyway, God knows how much that would cost.
Yeah.
I'd have to win.
If you'd like to help Pavo achieve his dream of having a Millennium Falcon, call the number on the screen.
Yes,
Star
please.
Wars benefit concert. Yeah.
Please do. Right, we got some honourable mentions.
Have you done your number 1 yet?
Oh, sorry, yeah, no, my
I was
number
going to say
one.
we're all waiting for your number 1 now.
My number 1 was the John Williams music.
Ah, excellent.
That's my number 1. Just a little bit of info. There are a few people that when they pass away, I will be devastated. Carrie Fisher was one of them, although I didn't realize at the time that I would be devastated. I can remember sitting in the living room that Christmas when we heard about it, and I told my wife, and as I told my wife, I just started crying. I never thought I would feel that way about Carrie Fisher. But then when my wife said, look, she's been like in your life nearly all your life. Of course you're going to be upset that she's died. I said, yeah, but it's stupid. I've never met her. She goes, yeah, but she's someone that means a lot to you. And someone like John Williams, I think, is another person that he's been the soundtrack of my life for everything but 8 years of my life. And it's not just Star Wars, but Indiana Jones, E.T., Jaws, Closing. It's crazy. The Harry Potter, all the things that he has done. And you've only got to do 2 seconds of a piece of John Williams music and you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So he's another one of those guys. So it had to be for me. Again, as much as the production design, Star Wars isn't Star Wars without the John Williams music.
Isn't that great that we all had the sort of merged 1s and 2s, so to speak?
Yeah. And I do love the fact that is it Ludwig Göransson who's doing the Mandalorian music. Hopefully is going to carry on that tradition, because that the Mandalorian music, I think, is fantastic as well. It's so memorable. But yeah, God bless John Williams. May he live forever. It's probably not going to happen. But anyway, honorable mentions. Mary Jane Sims says, got to be the action and the sound of the lightsabers. Just like that. Jen Berg, I'm going to say Ewoks, just so I can hear the disappointment in your voice. I love the Ewoks. We all love the Ewoks, don't we?
Yeah. Could you imagine what it would have been like if they'd have done it originally with all the Wookiees? That would have been terrifying.
It would have been terrifying. Some of the Ewoks are terrifying, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Doug Simpson says the music of John Williams, and more recently for Mandalorian and Boba Fett, Ludwig Göransson. 2, the way meme culture helped a generation to revisit and fall in love with the prequels. 3, the corridor moment, which I'm assuming is the Han Solo corridor moment. Have a blast, guys. Can't wait to hear this. Thank you, Doug. Matt Odd says, tough one. Always had a soft spot for the Rancor. More so after Boba Fett.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great moment.
Good. That was a nice recall, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was what was the guy's name? Who was the Rancor keeper in the Mandalorian in Boba Fett? Danny Trejo. Didn't he? Yeah. Manda Brown says, always loved the Ewoks, but the best thing ever was the Return of the Jedi arcade game. I used to work at Holborn, and after every day shift, I used to play it and completed it over and over again. I used to love that. We are now part of the tribe. That was when he did
amazing.
Chatty Geek HD said, oh my golly gumdrops. First 5 that come to mind: the Jedi Code, Master Yoda, the Force, the lightsaber, and the soundtracks. So there you go. Thank you very much, everybody, for your honorable mentions. So what are you looking forward to then, Steve, in regards to like the future of Star Wars?
That it maintains the level that The Mandalorian did, and we don't get to a point where we go, we don't need you to make any more. That's what I worry about, that we just get a bit of too much Star Wars. I mean, we were patient, weren't we? We waited 30 years for something new. But I think, they need to be really careful now. Obi-Wan, if that's really good, I'm sort of, part of me goes, right, stop now. We'll have another series of The Mandalorian, but I don't really need much else. I know there's others coming. But yeah, I mean, the promised new trilogy that's unrelated to the Skywalker saga, that sounds promising. If they can keep it, they can make it as good. This is the point, is if it's as fresh and as good as The Mandalorian has been, then that's great. But I think they just need to be a little bit careful.
Exactly.
And what about you, Neil, in regards to like the movies? Where would you like to see the movies?
Well, like Steve just said, I think it'd be nice to carry on the Star Wars saga, but steer away from the Skywalker saga. Go somewhere fresh with it, and then keep it fresh. They've proved that they can do it with The Mandalorian, even though it did have callbacks to the Skywalker saga. I think it'd be really nice just to set something up that's new and fresh, but within uncomfortable.
I just want to know what happened to the little kid with a broom at the end of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's where it's going to be. He's got to come into it somehow, hadn't he, with his broom?
Yeah, that was what was so disappointing. Rian Johnson tried to change everything and open up the universe, and they just shut it again, didn't they?
But see, it's right. So this is what my final scene of Rise of Skywalker, I feel, should have been. Because they sort of set up that Finn is Force sensitive. Don't you think that was one of the things that he wanted to say to Rey? So she goes to Tatooine, and buries the lightsabers or whatever. But she turns around and that woman says, what's your name? Oh, I'm a Skywalker. She turns around and there's Broom Boy, there's Rey, there's Finn, and they all got lightsabers, and then she's going to go off and start her own like Jedi training. Because it would then tie in a little bit with that random bit of that kid that is obviously Force sensitive.
Yeah.
Obviously, then that would open it up for, say, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years' time when they do episodes 10, 11, 12. That's what I would love to have seen. Instead of just finishing on that shot of the dual suns, which we've seen so many times, I just thought that would have been, oh, right. So the Jedi are going to be coming back, and it's Rey that's going to move
lead the way.
Yeah. I was quite happy with the way it ended, but I think the Skywalker saga is done now, and I think that's a good thing. You know?
Yeah. It just
Do you not think that they'll wait 10 years and it'll be an older Rey and they'll
Possibly.
bring her back?
Maybe that's the time to do it, but not yet.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. Disney just needs to be a little bit careful now. I think they're getting a bit overexcited.
Yeah, I'm certainly glad that they finished with the Star Wars film every year.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I mean, as much as I love Star Wars, that would be too much.
Yeah.
It was great when it was a Star Wars film every 3 years because the anticipation grew.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just hear these little things of this is going to happen and that's going to happen. Right, it is too much. You can have too much Star Wars, I think.
Do we take it that everything that they sort of mentioned a few years ago that they were going to try and do or achieve has been knocked on the head? You know, like Rian Johnson's trilogy and things like that. Has that all been?
Well, I don't think it's ever been said whether it's been cancelled or it's carrying on, because the guys from Game of Thrones were supposed to have their own trilogy, weren't they? And I think that's ended up now. I think being cancelled. I
think they've parked everything for the moment, haven't they? Because the Disney Plus series are doing so well.
Yeah,
they're holding back. But although I think there's a work on a standalone film, I understand.
Well, yeah, because there's the Rogue Squadron, which was done by the lady that did the Wonder Woman movies, which was an X-Wing movie. That's been now cancelled, apparently.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure in regards to. I think that was who was it? They said, Taika Waititi is doing a Star Wars movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that again. They haven't said what it is or what it's about. But then again, they say these things for movies all the time, don't they? And then nothing ever happens. So it can change. It can change all the time. But who knows? Disney will want their $4.6 billion back, won't they? So
they will.
They must be pretty close to it by now, anyway. I would have thought.
I reckon.
Just with Endgame alone.
No, exactly. So that's it. Neil, do you want to let everybody know exactly how they can get in touch with us and all that?
Of course I will. So you can find us on all the social medias at Top 10 Pods. Do give us a click, give us a like, give us a follow. You can email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com, where you could give us suggestions for your own top 10s or any other questions you may have for us. Please do come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/top10pods, where you can get all sorts of rewards, such as an episode super early, and you could even be a guest on your own show. Check out all of our links via LINKTREE. You can find the link in the show notes. And please do come and subscribe. Give us a click, give us a rating, give us a review on wherever you may get your podcast from.
Wonderfully done. Steve, it was always a pleasure to talk to you, especially about Star Wars.
Anytime, you know that. It's been a pleasure to talk to you guys as well.
Awesome. And that's it. So thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you, Pav. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Bye.
Thank you very much, everybody. May the Force be with you, and let's go start the countdown.
10,